The EU says it is prepared to expand the offered long of the position Brexit transfer time if the UK wants. The present schedule is for a transfer time of 21 months to sleek the way of Brexit to the UK and EU's next constant relation. But the two sides lack to achieve a transaction still. UK Main Secretary Theresa May told the location could be stretched to a few months, if necessary. Several Brexit campaigners reacted crossly to the proposal. Mrs. May told she was not offering widening the transfer, but how possessing the stock option to do so could assist resolve the present deadlock above the Irish boundary. EU Justice CEO Donald Insiser told to journalists at the end of a Brussels summit conference wherever down there was no main breakout on the key question of how to escape new apparent boundary checks among Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland following Brexit. He told how if this UK solved an expansion of the transfer time would be useful to achieve a transactions, I am certainly the leaders would be prepared to believe the favorably. Mr. Insiser proclaimed oneself in a lot superior sentiment rather than following the recent summit conference in Salzburg. Jean-Claude Juncker, the CEO of the Europe Committee, told expansion of the transfer time will perhaps occur. Proverb it was a nice concept since it would enable more than period to paint up a length-term relation among the UK and the EU. In her position summit click meeting, Mrs. May told the concept of possessing the stock option to expand the transfer time could be a future decision to the searching for a supporting to provide no difficult boundary. Which we are not making, we are not permanent there offering an expansion to the realization time, she told. Which we are making is work to provide how we include a decision to the supporting question in Northern Ireland. Both of sides are devoted to allowing the eminent issues as quickly as probable, she told. Addition, down there was a really actual feeling how human beings wish how transactions to be made. Irish Main Secretary Leo Varadkar told, a lot of things been coordinated but down there are yet big gaps both of in regulation of the form of the next relation and as well the minutes on Northern Ireland and the supporting. The UK is due to keep the EU on March 29, 2019, and the transfer time, that Mrs. May prefers to urge the realization time, is intended to sleek the way to a next constant relation. For the transfer time, that is due to complete on December 31, 2020, the UK's relation in the EU will remain substantially the identical. The UK has signed up to the concept of assenting an Irish boundary supporting, an insurance coverage politics intended to hinder the requirement for customs officer checks. In instance down there is a gap among the transfer time and the next constant relation upcoming in strength. The issue is how the two sides yet to accept which shape the supporting will get, and how length it could recent. Happy Modernize Yours web browser Nigel Dodds, of Northern Ireland's more democratic trade unionist side, who's supporting the by the government as necessary in key votes, told widening the transfer stage would price the UK billions of pounds and not changing the basic issue in the EU supporting schedule. The is since it involves Northern Ireland stay verified to EU rules, that the DUP, and the UK by the government, says is inappropriate since it creates a new boundary in the Irish Ocean. Brexiters are not amazed. In prudent backbench MP Jacob Robmog expressive Sky News story it was a quite impoverished try at kicking the can downward the way. The Keep Tool Keep campaigning told a much longer transfer would offer the EU null stimulus to conduct negotiations whatever and gives Brussels the force to strengthen everything they wish on to the UK. Downing Road, meantime, insisted down there was no distinction of view in World Growth Secretariat Penny Mordaunt, who told over how the main secretary has been really precise on while the realization time will go to and late and the is on the rules during how realization time. Else ex-secretary, stay voting Nicky Morgan, told an expansion would be useless and would keep the UK in a Brexit keeping design. Requested over if he would supporting a much longer transfer time, Labour lead Jeremy Corbyn told, this main secretary has got herself in the chaos by lack to achieve any significant agreements in the EU. Office Space Secretary David Lidington told the price of widening the transfer time would include to be teased up for the talks.